All right, everyone. Hello and welcome into week 4 of the NFL season. It is Wednesday, so it is once again time to do the weekly NFL Pick'em video ahead of tomorrow's Thursday night game, which will kick off week 4 officially. If you're new around here or if you've been enjoying this activity with us for the past 4 weeks, this is the whiteboard. It has returned. It has become a regular staple of this video series so that you can follow along as I make all of my selections. I will be using team pendants to indicate which team I'm selecting to win each head-to-head matchup. This is just head-to-head. There is no spread here. There is no points. Points be damned. So I'm just picking which team is going to win, and the points don't matter. It's kind of like whose line is it anyway. Before we start making picks, I want to go over a quick recap of how I've been doing so far this year. Last week was my best week so far of the season. I went 11-5 making picks head-to-head. And my total on the year is a very healthy 30-18. So we're off to a pretty good start. Had a nice rebound after the disappointing week 2 where I went 9-7. Even though that's still a winning record, I consider that to be disappointing. I'd like to have 10 or more correct picks each week and improve on last year's record, which I don't remember what it was off the top of my head. But if you go to the first video in the series, I'll make a playlist for all of these. It'll let you know there what my rate was last year. So without further ado, let's start making picks for week 4 of the NFL action. A lot of good games coming up this week. Very exciting slate of games this weekend. I think this could be the best weekend so far this season. It's been a very good season so far. Really have enjoyed it. Lots of storylines, a lot of breakout players, lots of players who are surprisingly disappointing us. I don't know if you guys play fantasy football like I do, but I just traded Calvin Ridley to get rid of him because I want nothing to do with the Atlanta Falcons offense anymore. It's just straight up garbage. I mean, Cordero Patterson is basically the heartbeat of that offense right now, and that's terrifying. So Arthur Smith, figure it out, please. But, it's not my problem anymore. Now it's somebody else's. All right, so let's start with a Thursday night football game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals might be for real, and all of the talk prior to the season about Jamar Chase having the yips seems to have been for naught. He has the most touchdown receptions out of any rookie so far this season. I like the Jaguars in this one. I like the Bengals in this one. The Jaguars are a hot mess right now, so I should show you the pendant before I put it up on the board. The Bengals are good. The Jaguars are not. They are a hot mess, so I have no faith in them, and there will probably not be a time that I actually pick them unless it's flipping a coin when the time comes for them to play the Texans at one point this year. Next, we have the Washington football team and the aforementioned Atlanta Falcons. I just don't think the Falcons are good enough to get a lot of W's this year. As I said in my NFL predictions video prior to the season, I believe the Falcons are going to have a top 5 pick in the 2022 NFL draft. Also, if you're an NFL draft fan, definitely subscribe because we're going to start talking about that very soon, probably this week, especially as it relates to the Minnesota Vikings and their needs next year. So, quick aside, I'm going to go with the Washington football team here. So, Curtis Samuel comes back this week. I don't know how much he's going to participate, but I think it's going to be too much for the Falcons. And the fact that the Falcons haven't been able to figure out an offense that includes Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts, Russell Gage, it boggles the mind. The offensive line for the Atlanta Falcons is just so bad, and Matt Ryan looks washed. So, I don't know. I think the Falcons are unintentionally tanking. They're not doing it on purpose. They're just that bad. So, I'm going to go with the Washington football team. Next, we have the Texans and the Bills. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. The Bills are clearly way too much for the Texans to handle. The Texans will definitely pull their own weight, as they've been doing so far this season with Brandon Cooks on the offense. It's just they just don't have enough talent to match up with a team like the Buffalo Bills that is destined to make the playoffs. So, easy selection for me there. Next, we have the Lions and the Bears. Last week, I picked the Detroit Lions to win in an upset over the Baltimore Ravens, and it almost happened. If it wasn't for that damn Justin Tucker and his NFL record field goal attempt of 66 yards, I was that close from getting that prediction right. It amazes me that things that happen to the Lions just continue to keep happening. But you know what? I still buy into the Dan Campbell formula. I really do. I think that despite the lack of talent that he has on this team, he's got them motivated. After what we witnessed last week with the Chicago Bears and Matt Nagy, which, conspiracy theory, I think he sabotaged Justin Fields in that game with that game plan. So I don't really put too much of the onus on Justin Fields for that performance. I think it's on Matt Nagy. I think he's on his way to being fired, and I think it's going to happen sooner or later. The Lions want a victory. They're hungry. They smell blood in the water. They're going after the Bears, and I think the Lions are going to get their first win of the season against Chicago, and then Chicago is going to have a complete meltdown. I don't know if Matt Nagy lasts to the midway point of the season at this point. I really don't. It's just you got to get him out of there. You just have to. The offense, Allen Robinson is just stifled. It's terrible. They're a mess. Next, we have the Panthers and the Cowboys. This is a tough one to pick. This was the last one out of the bunch that I finally came to a decision on. With the Panthers, they haven't played anybody that's good. I think that their combined opposing record so far is 0-9. So it's been pretty easy going for the Carolina Panthers. They're without Christian McCaffrey for another week. They are coming off 10 days rest because they played the last Thursday night football game. However, the Dallas Cowboys are not so much on fire, but I think that they're definitely heating up. I think Kellen Moore is it Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys? Somebody correct me on that. But I think that he's poised to be a head coaching commodity here this upcoming offseason because the offense is doing well. Zeke Elliott gets back into rhythm last week with 2 touchdowns. They just got to get more production from the wide receiver group. CeeDee Lamb, I think he had 60-some yards. Amari Cooper's playing hurt. But I'm still going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to win against the Panthers. And the Panthers, their first loss of the season. Next, we have the Colts and the Dolphins. I'm really not interested in this game. The Colts are going on the road. Carson Wentz looks bad. The Colts look bad overall. I think Jacoby Brissett is a damn good backup quarterback. So they fought tooth and nail to the end against the Raiders last week, going to overtime, eventually losing there. I'm going to give this one to the Dolphins. I think they're hungrier. I think they want it more. They're healthier despite what's going on with Tua Tagovailoa. I just think that this is a good bounce back position for the Dolphins, and the Colts will just continue to slide as they fall to 0-4 on the season. Next, we have the Browns and the Vikings, the one you've all been waiting for, the Kevin Stefanski revenge game as Cleveland comes into US Bank Stadium on Sunday. Listen, home field advantage is back for the Minnesota Vikings in a big way, and that's a big part of why they were able to nail that victory against Seattle, despite having a pretty poor first half where they were down 17-7. But the comeback was successful. The offense is running on all cylinders. Probably the key to the game is going to be the defensive line versus the offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings. Myles Garrett and company going up against Rashad Hill, Ezra Cleveland, Garrett Bradbury, etc. That's going to determine what this Vikings team is going to be capable of in terms of producing a win for their second straight win to move to 2-2. I still have faith. I've picked the Vikings every week. I'm not going to stop now. I'm going to do it again because they've got the home field advantage. This is a game full of great storylines. Sheldon Richardson, Kevin Stefanski. It all comes full circle for them this Sunday. So going with the Vikings for the 4th straight week. Let's hope I'm right because 1-3 would be a terrible start. Next, we've got the Saints and the Giants. Look, Giants fans, pack it in. You're done. I don't see any W's coming up for you anytime soon. The schedule is horrendous going forward. That Falcons game was pretty much your last shot. Saints defense is good. They're really great. I'm going to go with the Saints in a big win over the Giants. Titans and Jets, the other New York team that is destined to not find very many wins this season. Not hard to pick this one. I'm going with the Titans. They are also my pick in the survivor pool this week. Because it's the New York Jets. They're garbage. They're god-awful. They need some help in a big way. Next, we have the Chiefs and the Eagles. Both teams performing very well. I really like Jalen Hurts. Devontae Smith, my nose just keeps itching for some reason. The Kansas City Chiefs are 1-2, a surprising 1-2 at the bottom of the NFC or the AFC West so far this season. I'm going to say they bounced back. They just signed Josh Gordon after he was reinstated, but I think that that's going to be kind of irrelevant until he's elevated from the practice squad because he's got to learn the offense and probably get into football shape if he's not already, which I think he probably is, or they wouldn't have done this. But I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs over the Philadelphia Eagles. Next, we have the Rams and the Cardinals. This should be an offensive explosion. Whatever the over is, I'm taking it. I just hope Robert Woods gets more involved because so far, for my own selfish fantasy reasons, he hasn't been really, a primary thought to the offense when it comes to, how well they've been playing this year. So, however, fantasy football aside, I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams to beat the Arizona Cardinals because I got to see the Rams lose one first before I can feel confident in predicting their demise, which isn't going to happen for a while. Next, we have the Seahawks and the 49ers. The Seahawks are on the road once again. 49ers just played a great game against the Green Bay Packers. on Sunday night. I'm going to continue to go with the teams that are playing at home and doing well. Seahawks are not playing well, and they are not playing well on the road, as we saw last week. The team looks like it's a little bit of a mess, so I'm going to go with the 49ers in a close victory in this divisional matchup. Next, we have the Ravens and the Broncos. Broncos are 3-0. They've played really well. They just lost KJ Hamler to an ACL tear, significant ACL tear from what it sounds like. He could be out for maybe even more than a year. The Ravens, on the other hand, they're still they're still weathering the storm of all the injuries that they've suffered so far this season, and they've been doing okay. I'm going to go with the Ravens in this one. I'm going to give this one to the road team. They're going to go into Denver and steal one against a 3-0 Broncos team, sort of bring them back down to earth just a little bit. Next, we have the Steelers and the Packers. Boy, Ben Roethlisberger is cooked. The offense is not good. The defense is still what you probably are looking for, but the magic that Aaron Rodgers brings, the fact that it's in Lambeau Field, I don't know how the Steelers go on the road and steal. I would be shocked if the Steelers were able to surprise us this week with a win over the Packers. And I think that a win over the Packers would cause a lot of turmoil in Green Bay amongst the fans if that would happen. I'm going to go with the Packers for this one. It just seems safe. And I don't have confidence in the Steelers right now, that I would need to be able to select them to win a game. Next, we have the storyline of all storylines, the Sunday night game between the Bucs and the Patriots. The Tom Brady returning to New England, Tom Brady versus Bill Belichick, whatever you want to call it. Listen, I just don't think the Patriots have the talent to match up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady be damned, put him aside for a minute and let's look at this realistically. Mac Jones just had a huge awakening to the NFL last week against the Saints defense that is very good. The Bucs defense is probably not on par with the Saints defense. Their pass defense is a little soft right now, hence the signing of Richard Sherman, which just was announced earlier today. But overall, I think betting against Tom Brady is a mistake. And I've told myself not to do that. And I'm going to continue to take my own advice. And I'm going to pick the Buccaneers to beat the Patriots. And Tom Brady, that's the wrong team. Tom Brady is going to come out of this one on top. And it's going to be quite the circle jerk at ESPN and across NFL media as Tom Brady continues his dominance over everyone. Not even Bill Belichick is safe from Tom Brady. Next, we have, last but not least, actually, the Monday night game, the Raiders and the Chargers. The Raiders are off to a hot start. Is it sustainable? I don't know. Derek Carr is the current leader in NFL passing yards, which who saw that coming? And it's weird because Henry Ruggs hasn't been all that involved. They spend how many $1 million on Kenyon Drake, and then they decide to just pick up a guy off the street named Peyton Barber, and he's the featured back while Josh Jacobs is out. Running backs are a dime a dozen, guys. You can go 0 RB in fantasy. Running backs don't matter. That's been my mantra for years now. And this just kind of is proof of concept with the whole Peyton Barber situation. On the other side, the Chargers coming off a big win over Kansas City. Justin Herbert is the man. Mike Williams is, dare I say, the next Michael Thomas, or at least the Michael Thomas this year. He's got a great connection with him. He's the 1A to Keenan Allen's 1B. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think overall they're hotter. They've got the better personnel, in my opinion, and I think the Raiders have just been hot to start the season, and they're going to cool down a little bit. So they're still a good football team, really good football team. But I'm going to go with the Chargers over the Raiders on Monday Night Football. That concludes my Week 4 selections of NFL Pickems. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you have any that match up? Do you have any that you strongly disagree with? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.